Welcome to the CEO Bros Podcast, After Hours, with Brian Balduf, co-founded, grew, and sold VHT Studios. Brad Balduf, CEO and co-founder of By Your Side Autism Therapy Services. Matt Crope, the consummate entertainer, jack of all trades, and serves as our host.
This new company I'm starting.
You're going to talk about the company in front of Sarah?
Yep.
All right.
So I just, before we introduce our guest tonight, live in Studio G, by the way, this is not one of these Zoom calls. We're all excited to have our guest in Studio G, but it's going to be probably a little bit awkward. I just started a company. It's called Filterless Era, and it's actually about skincare. It's about, you can wear infrared LED masks,
very similar, but it's not filterless. It's filter.
Right. Exactly. So what I want Sarah to explain to us is her company Filterless Era. I want her to explain why tonight. I want her to explain why her company is not as good as mine, because it's Filterless Era. So with that being said, we actually asked.
Well, let's welcome Sarah.
Sarah, yeah. So we wanted to. Sarah Fraggis has joined us live in the studio, everybody, for Studio G.
Yes.
Sarah is a CEO. She is a upcoming book author, or she is an author of a book that's going to be soon to release.
Yes.
I like to read. So
Well,
yeah, you're
get
big
on
reader.
there.
I'm not. But Sarah is the CEO of Filterless Era, and we wanted to bring her into the studio to talk about anything and everything and starting the company up, Sarah. So welcome.
Thank you.
That's great. After Hours, not Arlington Heights.
I thought it was Arlington Heights. I was like, why'd you make me drive an hour from home if you're at Arlington
I
Heights?
could be right in Arlington.
It's the other thing that's cool too is that we're Brian and I often say that we have faces for radio, but Sarah actually has a face for television. She actually has got us.
We were hoping you could help us today a little bit with
Yeah, tune into the reels, guys.
Do you have any chemicals or skincare products or anything we could use to fix this?
By the end of this show, we're going to look better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm lucky because I'm off camera.
Your
so.
company's going to be Filter More, so just filter more.
Filter more, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Amber, more filter on brand.
Create the filter for yourself.
The company's already flopped. It's not doing well. We're not doing well. But
Nobody believes you as a spokesperson.
But Sarah, so let's talk about let's talk about your start.
Yes.
You've got a skincare company. We've been reading up on you. We've been listening to some of the podcasts that you've been guests on. So why don't you talk about like what got you motivated to say, hey, there's something out there that the world hasn't seen yet, or I can do it, or I can do it better.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that kind of sets me apart than most people is that I didn't come up with a product that no one's ever seen before. The product that I started with was a gua sha. It's been around for 700 years, starting in the Ming Dynasty in China. I got intrigued by it during COVID. So during COVID, I had a corporate job. I wasn't making a lot of money. I was married, and at the time it was kind of like ride the highs, survive the lows. He had a sales job. And during COVID, it was kind of just a low time. And so I wanted to go get facials. I wanted to get Botox. I wanted to feel pretty, but in my budget, I didn't fit into that category. So I saw this girl doing gua sha online.
What do you mean by that? When you say I didn't fit in that category, you didn't feel comfortable?
I didn't have the funds to do it.
Okay.
So
okay.
That's more. I didn't have money to do it. And, I was kind of depressed, like a little bit, because I'm like, my goal, like I want to look like that. I want to do these things, but I couldn't.
And look like, are you talking social? Are you comparing yourself to what you're seeing in social media?
Yes. Yeah. And no, that's a great point. My company name is because of those insecurities, which I'll get into in a minute. But I saw this girl doing gua sha online.
So I'm sorry, those same insecurities that are plaguing my brother. So Brian, maybe we can get into this with why this could work well for you here.
Right. I was hoping you were going to ask what that term is. Did you say wash on or
Gua sha, Brian.
Yes.
It's been around 700 years. I've never heard of it. So.
Well,
Yes.
when you get pillow wrinkles, you'll see you have to get into that.
Yeah.
And then you have to start doing the nymph mode prep, right?
The lymphatic.
Lymph
Drainage.
mode prep.
Okay.
I consider myself a biohacker at this point because I'm literally biohacking. Like I'm doing everything that's going to slow down cellular aging and anything that I can do naturally. So when I first looked into the beauty realm, I was like, yes, Botox filler, give me anything injectable and probably not good for you. When I started gua sha, it was a leap of faith. I had not a lot of money and I was like, okay, if it's saying what this girl's showing me on TikTok it's going to do, it's $5. Let me figure it out. I became obsessed. I started seeing results. I was less puffy. My wrinkles were less. I had less tension. And at that moment, it just sparked something up in me because I knew there were a lot of stay-at-home moms like me, people who couldn't afford things, especially during COVID. Even if you can't afford it, you weren't going out to get that stuff done. And, I think my generation too, were really...
Well, our generation. I mean, we're younger guys too.
Yeah.
We like to think we are. Just because we don't have hair, did you already you jumped?
Well, the social
you jumped
media,
to conclusions
the social
already?
media era. And
Okay. I just want to make sure that
which
you
is
weren't
why
jumping to conclusions and assumed that we
Filterless
were
Era.
older guys or something.
Well, no, I thought you're millennial, right?
Yes. Here we go. So, I mean,
He doesn't even know what that means.
Yeah, I do. The millennials? Yes, of course. I could even slide in for
The
Gen
park
Z.
in Chicago.
You have a kid that's a millennial, but all right.
I do. So COVID was a tough time for everybody. I mean, so were you at the time doing something else? Like, were you doing a corporate job or were you,
Yes.
and so you said, I can't do this anymore.
Oh my gosh. No, I couldn't even go to college. I was always like, when I was younger, I was like the most, you could see the writing on the wall that I was going to be an entrepreneur. Like, you know what I mean? The lemonade stand. I'd blow it out. I had all these ideas of things I wanted to do. Constantly, I always wanted to do stuff, but there was another side of me that like, I could not do the work. So I would go to college, but I hated it. Like I literally would get to the point of depression of like, I can't do this. I'd work at a company, even the corporate one that I had, they'd praise me. They're like, she's really good. I'd go in the first couple of months and I'd be really excited and I would just blow numbers out. But once that excitement died out of me, then I was like, I guess I'm poor forever. Like I can't. This is just
it's just a job. It's just the job.
It's just for me. Yeah.
School. I mean, but to go back to school, you weren't cut out for school. You're saying I'm not a good student. I don't feel good about.
I made it by being crafty. I mean, literally, I had friends. I mean, I guess I was being, my own entrepreneur, my own way. I was just going up to people. I'm like, hey, if you give me like the ABCD, like of the test first period, I have it in 7th. I'll remember it. I'll make like a song in my head just to get by. And even when I had papers and stuff, I'd be like,
Brian, back to your college days.
I hated school.
You hated school too. And yet you were very successful as well. So it's like you find, here's two people that were in school at one point.
Did you enjoy school?
Was that?
Did you enjoy school?
No, but I recall hearing stories about you that you were like sleeping in your car days at a time during school.
Missed the final.
Missing classes.
Like a little bit like it burned you out.
Well, I
right?
didn't get depressed, but I hated it.
Yeah.
And that story you just told reminded me of when you said entrepreneurial. I'm like, there was a kid from China in my class who didn't speak any English, and I was failing. And I said, I'll translate for you if you do all my work and take my test. It was a perfect arrangement.
Solving problems.
Solving problems. That was my first entrepreneurial experience, I guess.
Yeah. And it is. It really is. And I think even for me, like I felt such low worth and so low value because people who don't understand that we're put in a system where people think that 9 to 5 is like the peak of what you're going to do. You send your kid to college and you're like, go get a nice corporate job. And somebody who can't fit into that mold but knows they're made for more, it does get dark. I went into a point in my life where I was like going out and partying and just doing things that were fulfilling because I just knew I couldn't do school. Mm-hmm. And I think through a lot of hardship is really what I built my company upon. I did have to hit those rock bottoms, and I did eBay. I did storage units. I did storage war type units.
Okay.
And so
you were so your point was you were dabbling in a lot of stuff during school or after school. So you come out of school and you're like, I feel like I should start my own thing. I don't know what I should do, but I feel like I have to start something.
After school, I was just excited to be out with my friends and go in Chicago and just have fun. Like we lived by New York City. Like
well, you got to do that for a little bit.
It was like we had fun and went out. And so when that party stopped and I really had nothing left to show, that's when I was like, okay. And I felt kind of low because a lot of my friends, they were going and getting these jobs out of college. Maybe they're making 50, 60K.
Right,
but me, it's like if I'm starting at the time 20, 30. And so, I struggled a lot with that. And I think people need to hear that message because not everybody's made out for that. And like now
Yeah.
I'm doing better than all the people that I compared myself to. Not that it matters in that way, but that you can, not everybody's meant to be the same, you know?
Well,
and I think
plus you could
to feel understood.
You could start late, meaning that, you know, you bring up a good point, Sarah. There's a lot of people, a lot of young women that I work with at By Your Side that have told me after like 3-4 years, it's almost amazing. They tell me, they're like, well, I didn't do that right after school. So, well, my career's over. And I'm like, wait, what? I said, I started By Your Side when I was 39. I go, how old are you? 27, you know? I'm like, okay, well, picture 12 years from now, I started with nothing and built it up. So I said, so the point that I was taking from what you just said is that, you know, like, look, you could be late into your, you know, late 20s, mid 20s, where you say like, hey, I'm going to do something that I didn't even have this in mind in college, but I want to go after something. I want to be an entrepreneur. And you did.
You have to break the barrier of not caring what people say. And I think one of the biggest things of why I was able to do that is I started in network marketing. Now, I don't know if you guys know, do you guys familiar with network marketing?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of frowned upon. It's kind of made fun of. It's like, you know, that gets that rep of like the girl in high school who never did anything is now trying to sell you vitamins, you know, online.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Brian sold
humiliating.
vitamins for a while.
I did really well. I earned a car, I earned a vacation, but that came at the cost of like everyone in my hometown making jokes about it. But I consider that my schooling. And you know what I mean?
Wait, are we talking like pyramid type stuff?
Pyramid scheme.
Multi-level
What they say.
and, you know.
Like,
Mid-level marketing.
What were the big ones? It was back in our day. What were the big ones? It was what's the one that everybody
Mary
was?
Kay.
No, there was one that
They changed their name.
I can't
know
remember.
what
Oh,
you're
is
talking
Mary
about.
Kay, is that a pyramid scheme? I don't view.
No.
You know what? Is anything a pyramid scheme? When you're a CEO, it's all floating up to you in the sense anyways. I
Right.
actually, now they don't do MLMs because they've had such a bad rep, even though it filled a lot of people's pockets, but I worked like a dog and made nothing. So I get why it's kind of a scheme. But now they do affiliate marketing, which is essentially the same thing.
thing. Just
But
different
but the point of that type marketing, if I'm understanding or if I'm remembering correctly, was that your job would be to go get 5 or 6 other people to sell that supplement as well, and then when they would sell that product, you would make a commission from what they were selling because they were your underlings.
Yes,
right?
and it's kind of a community because at the time I met these people. And I met these girls and it's kind of like, you know, when you're a stay-at-home mom, it's fun because you're like, okay, now I have friends and everybody has, you know, a motive, but they're going to be your best friends while you're selling. And it turned into, I learned that I was great at selling online. Now I was great at acquiring customers. Now acquiring people, teaching them how to do what I do, I couldn't.
How did you block out the noise of being, in your words, like humiliated and saying, but I'm doing what I need to do to, by the way, I don't know if you have a title for your book or your next one. When you said Made for More, that's a great title for a book, by the way.
She's like, that's the name of it.
My
What is the book title? What is it?
The Last Paycheck.
The Last
And
Paycheck.
And it's how
Okay.
I was in a marriage that was, I would say, just kind of more of a traditional marriage. And so I kind of lied about where my last paycheck was going because that money was $3,000 at the time, which would have been $1 million to me today. Like, you know, like that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to buy something overseas. And then worst case scenario, liquidate it on eBay because we're going to need that money no matter what. But I couldn't tell my husband because he would have been like, no, we can pay bills, you know, because no one believes in your dream. And so, I took my last paycheck and then I was just like, I knew it was going to work. If I look back on my business plan,
this is the beginning of Filterless
Filterless Era. I look at it and I'm like, my website was really janky. Like if you would have looked at it, I don't think you'd been like scam. Like if your daughter's like, hey, can I order from here? You'd be like, absolutely not. But for some reason it works. For some reason it works. I give God the glory on that. I had the mental state where I was so used to people kind of mimicking, you know, kind of making fun of me anyways from network marketing that I just kind of silenced it all out. I was in my zone. I had my headphones on. I had a dream, really no friends, no one in my lane, and just did it all myself.
That's very cool.
That's
That you're
awesome.
opening up and sharing that because it's, and I hate to tell you, Sarah, but my last paycheck was $2,000 and I started Filter More. So with $1,000 less, I did more. No,
you were thinking of Amway earlier.
Amway,
the big
yes,
multi-level one.
the multi-level one, right?
young.
But so Sarah, was at a point where you're like, okay, so So first, let's get back. The book. You have a book. Is it out? Is it coming out?
So it's coming out. I wanted it to come out in May, but it's actually coming out in August because there's just so many different edits and there's things that I shared that I'm like, okay, if I'm being honest, I'm just going to lay it out here because I think authenticity is the best way to do it. There's things that I'm like, okay, I don't want this to be perceived a certain way. At first I was going to tell more of my story, but then I did tell my story, but I didn't want to put anybody else into it because I'm never here to call anyone the bad guy or anything because I think it's all perception. You know, and a way it is. So I kind of wanted to take some of the characters out of it. And I wanted to really just focus on what I was dealing with and how I perceived it through my lens, how I felt.
Yeah.
How I felt is different than how other people felt. You know, it's like how you feel is not always how someone's directing at it. So I wanted to make sure that came out good. And so that took long. And it's really just a self-believing book. Like I dive into it. I give you the exact equation that I use to be in an e-commerce situation, which I will drop right here for you. If you sell, 30 products, 25 products at $30 each every single day. You're going to sell 5 of them. So you're going to sell 5 $30 products. No, 5 $25 products 30 times a day. It's $1 million business in a year. So that's the equation that I used.
So you're okay. So so when you started everything off and you said, hey, I'm going to take my last paycheck and I'm going to start this company. You had a product in mind, a product line.
I knew
was there one thing where you said, I have to talk about gua sha?
Yes, gua sha was going to be the number one thing. And it's the same product that a lot of people had. But I'm like, I know. Here's the thing. When you're selling something, especially e-commerce, and this is for people who are on social media as well, and if you want to grow, who I like to follow, and you guys are on social media as well, but like truthfully, who I like to follow and who stays on my followed list that I don't unfollow is someone who's giving me value. I might like someone for a day who I think, oh, cute outfit, hot lifestyle, everything else, but eventually it pisses me off.
Right. That's great.
Cute outfit. You're talking about someone else. Oh, I'm sorry.
I go back and forth with you. Your lifestyle is just too much.
And Brad, that is, if we didn't say, that is a cute outfit. If we have not mentioned today, it is. It really is.
And I worked up my hair tonight and everything. Great. Okay.
But
sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off, but
do you know what I'm saying though? Do you guys know, like with it, we were like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
well, I think it's important that you're talking about not reinventing the wheel. And then you said you took something that was been around for 400 years and you said, I'm just going to do this, but I'm going to do it really well. And I think that's an important lesson.
Yes. And I think when you do something like that, like always teach someone. And I think you need to dive into the emotion of what you wanted to know. And so that's what I always thought is like, I'm like, why did this video, like I saw this video, why did that video get me to stop in my tracks? And I saw what they would do really well. And to be honest with you, I saw these girls who were teaching gua sha and they were very holistic and they were very teachers. They weren't salespeople. Okay. They were soft, amazing women and their soft energy. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm a beast. And I knew, I'm like,
we use that term a lot, beast mode. You go beast mode.
I'm like, we're going to bring a beast mode to this gua sha game because you know what? Nobody in the holistic, Sarah. Not many people in the holistic realm are beast mode. They're more like, soft. Zen, and there's nothing wrong with that. No, honestly, I wish I had a little more of that. Probably be good for me with my anxiety and everything else, but I'm just not. And so a little piece of me knew, like, I'm gonna tear it up.
I'm gonna sell this. I'm gonna sell.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna. But you know, I knew what they needed to see because I knew what I needed to see, and I was passionate about it because I know it works. I would never sell anything I wasn't like how you like with jobs, for instance. We were talking about. I couldn't work at a company like I'm like, yeah, this is great, but I don't love it.
What do I do?
Well, I think it's an interesting journey because you talked about you wanted injections and you pivoted to natural. And is that because you just started believing in that product and said, I can go beast mode on this and I can be successful? Because that's quite a pivot.
I couldn't afford it. So I was looking for different ways. To be
that's
honest
crazy
with
because you think it's the other
I
way.
had migraines and I figured out how to get free Botox because I had migraines. And then I realized the problem is when you go get free Botox for migraines, the doctor's doing it. So he's not worried about if your eyebrows are lifted or if they're lowered. He's just worrying about numbing the nerve. So, I mean, there's like, I'm pretty botched at this point, but I'm like, it's free because I couldn't pay for it. But the more I got into learning about it, the more I became obsessed. So it was kind of like a saving grace to me because I started researching because now I'm into this. Now I want to sell gua sha. I want to learn more about it. And then I found like examples like Simon Cowell. Have you guys seen a recent picture of Simon Cowell?
He's gotten a little bit off, right? Hasn't he gone a little?
He was one of the first people to ever do Botox. He would brag about it, loved it. I mean, in his American Idol days, he was flexing before we even knew what it was. But what the problem is that when you do Botox for a prolonged amount of time, eventually, not always, but we've gotten so good. So I don't want to scare people away from it. I'm not anti-Botox because I think that you can do both. But if you do it as much as, the people who were starting to it, he got completely paralyzed. And so as things were like this, then he had to get his eyelids moved up.
Oh my
and so when that
gosh.
happens and his eyes were up, his son didn't even recognize him.
So let's talk about it. So
See a
one of
lot
the
of
things
that.
I think I saw on your website, Sarah, was, and maybe I'm taking it too far in a sense. Like you said something about like wanting to educate women and men on this. Now you obviously know we're fish out of water when it comes to this topic. I mean, we talk business, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about running and managing business, but now we're talking about skincare, right? So this is two guys, fish out of water.
Well, and even the business aspect of skincare, just understand it because I don't buy products.
But what would a
I'm sure somebody on your payroll does.
I'm sure they do.
Just
yeah,
kidding.
I'm sure they do.
Rex, what would we? But what would be something if we were talking to 5,000 guys?
Yeah.
What would you want them to know? Besides the fact, like, hey, you should know what your women like or what your women want. Like, what
that's
would
a great thing. So I say women and men because you know what? At first, like my following is 97.5% women, and I love that for me because I'm not showing up like how we were talking earlier about like the influencer today is that a lot of girls when they're younger, what they think they need to look like is like super perfect, super pretty, super hot bikini photos. And that's going to make them the next influencer of the day because it worked 7 years ago.
Right.
But now
Brian shouldn't have worn that bikini. That was
That was a
inappropriate.
mistake.
It
That was a
torched
mistake.
See, I wanted the bikini
everyone
more.
is that. And you know what? Kudos because it's a lot of work to be pretty like that. I always say though,
That's why I gave it up.
my rule of thumb though is I'm like hot after 30, you're going to be hot forever. Hot
Okay.
before
Yeah.
30, like come on, 20s, like you can't like
I say the
there's
same
so
thing.
many 20-year-olds and then like 30-year-olds
Right.
will look upon the 20-year-olds, but I'm like your metabolism hasn't even given you an issue yet. Like give me time. If you're hot in your mid 30s and then move it to 40s, 50s and like you know what you're doing like
Something
biohacking.
right, yeah.
Biohacking, you want to see someone like if you want to trust someone on social media and they claim themselves to be a biohacker, make sure they're 40 plus.
Can you look at us right now? Let's say Brian, let's not use me, but can you sit there and say, what he would need is he would need a gua sha. He's got wrinkles from sleeping on his pillows the wrong way. He's got like,
Let's see. Okay. I could actually tell you because the sleep line wrinkles
so
are going to be like
this is tough because
line
we're online
right
here.
You really don't. Are you a side sleeper?
I slide, yes. I
You are?
sleep. Yeah.
You're really both of you. I mean, it's all genetics too. You can also, the thing is
Well,
too,
don't
it's
say that
genetics.
if you're trying to move product.
No,
You wanna
genetics. No, I'm
basically
saying it's like you
say
can't compare
that-
yourself to different races that I know. And this is not me. This is just you cannot compare yourself to like different races because different races have different skin types, have different, it's everything together. But no, it doesn't mean they're not troubled because with different type of life comes different issues. There could be
But do you find yourself looking at somebody and going, oh, I know what
I could help that
I know what they
person.
need.
I can help them.
Like for example, when we're talking to different business owners, we think of different things. We think of do you think of product or do you think of business? You know what I mean?
Okay, so men,
what comes to mind
I
first?
never look at and think like they need to do skincare because I almost put them in the pool of like men are in a different bracket. To be honest with me, I think that a guy with Botox or like a guy who's too pretty. This is personal opinion. Okay. So this is me. If you think the other way, that's fine. I like more like a little wrinkle on a guy is good. I don't want to see someone
Little
completely.
character, right?
Yeah. I don't want to
Yeah.
see a guy with like Botox or, too much because you're into yourself too much. Like there can only be there's a rock and a star. Okay. We're trying to make a rock star here.
Okay. All
And
right.
so I want the guy should be the rock. The girl should be the star. Like, do you know what I mean? But in a way, but not like in a way, the guy's still the star too. He's rocking out. But like, you don't want someone who's competing with you on the pretty level. Like let the girls have their pretty.
Yeah, the
Do you
women-
get what
the
I'm saying?
Honey, where's
Yeah.
my gua sha? Did you use all the gua sha? That's my gua sha.
Right.
I'm sure I'm saying that wrong,
Oh
by
my
the way.
gosh. Can you imagine? Wait, I do have gua shas for you guys though.
All right.
Oh, you do? Are we
There
going to
go.
try something? Do I put something on my head and then 20 minutes later I'm just beautiful? Or how does that work?
Put something in his head and all of a sudden he's got hair growing out
Okay.
before the end of the episode.
I got hair just going
that's a
crazy on one
miracle.
side of my
Yeah,
head.
take that.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have a bag of things.
I got it.
When you
Please
are
back up.
doing gua sha now this is not just for beauty, and this is why I became obsessed with it. Gua sha is lymphatic
Brian's like,
drainage.
she's like, don't
so
touch
everyone
that,
gets
Brian.
one.
Pass that on.
You guys do too. So
Pass that
gua
on,
sha
right?
is lymphatic
Amber,
drainage,
here,
and
try
so
that.
basically, what I want you guys to know about gua sha is if you look at your face,
Do I put this on now?
we have fluid. You can, and I have oils. You got to have an oil on. You don't want to pull out the skin for nothing. You might not. You can look at it, but maybe don't do it completely. But when you're doing gua sha, just to let you know, you're moving fluid and you're getting rid of facial tension. So I want you to kind of visualize this like your gym equipment for your face, right?
Oh, that's
Take
a
your
good
fingers
analogy.
right
I like
here.
Gym
that.
equipment for the
Do you
face,
feel
everyone.
tension right here?
Yeah, I mean,
Like right here.
I
Some
get
people
migraines.
do, some people don't.
That's
do you
where I
feel a little bit of
usually-
like ball tension
I
in
do,
your
and I get
jaw?
migraines.
Yes, right? You do. Now, listen, that's a good indicator that when you start doing gua sha and relaxing this, it's your tool, almost like a massager, you're going to get a lift because tension in the facial muscles creates sag. Now, that's why you're getting that eyebrow lift. And I do these tutorials all the time. So if you guys are locked in at Filterless Era, you'll find one of those really, really quick. But it will give you the lift and then the depuffing because we have sinus fluid here.
That's my problem.
Yeah, you get, and you can breathe better. Your nose looks smaller. Your double chin's less because we have fluid that starts here. Sinus headaches could come here. You get fluid here, right underneath the eyes. And then what happens is it kind of filtrates here. Think of your jawline as almost your skin's filter. I've had women who've had calcium bumps in their jawline for like 20 years that were able to flush it with gua sha because you're bringing it out to your lymph nodes. And when that fluid flushes, where does it go? Gets stuck here in the filter, hangs here. Now we're pushing it out.
Well, I got
Why
that.
are we more sculpted?
Now you know.
Get started.
So wait, what do you
Get
do with
started.
these?
You get
Can you
So
tell us
I
what you
have
do
a
with
whole.
this?
I have a whole. I'm gonna give this to you. too.
Okay.
So basically, I have tutorials unlimited, but you're just gonna follow this.
Us too. This is not a woman.
No, it's not just a women
process.
thing. I think men should do it too. And if you're not even, it's not.
This
it's
is why
for-
Sarah Fraggis is here, everybody.
for beauty
because-
and health meet each other. Okay, so they started it in the Ming Dynasty in China, and what they did is they didn't start it for the face; they did it on the body. And in traditional gua sha, you bruise the body, and I'm sure you guys have seen those videos. If not, Google it; you'll see it. It's like cupping. You know, when cupping has like the
Yes.
red,
Yeah.
but they do your whole body. And they said by causing that, the healing creates healing. Like healing yourself creates healing. They're not going to bruise their face. That's a little bit crazy. So they started just kind of gliding the fluid, and then in turn, they were like, "Whoa, we're lifted, less puffy, glowing skin," and it became a beauty tool that was used. And then it really was in Chinese medicine. And I'm here to tell you, like, if you do get Botox, you can prolong your appointments. You can go 9 months instead of every 3. Or if you're happy where you're at, like for me, I haven't done it in a while because I'm content.
Yeah. How often does one do a gua sha routine? A
Gua sha routine, you need to do 3 to 5
Is that
times
the
a
proper way of
week.
saying it? A gua sha routine?
Yes.
Okay.
You are going to slay. You're going to go to your
Thank
daughter
you.
and your wife, and they're going to be like,
Oh, I was throwing that shit
Where
around
was
at them, and
it?
they had no idea.
Do
what
they
it-
not know what gua
No,
sha
no,
is?
no. They knew. They're like, how the hell do you know that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know what the hell I'm talking about.
This is
You're-
great packaging, by the way, and your logo looks awesome on there.
I love this.
you.
Great
You know what,
packaging.
my-
We're into marketing and
my
packaging.
my original packaging. It's so funny you said that. It's that I was, okay. So my
Wait.
original,
What is this though?
that's a fancy gua sha shape. Usually you would see a heart shape, but this one's like, yeah, you know what to do. You're already going there.
You know what to do with that.
All right.
Wait.
Wait, you went right to the chin. You're like, I heard that.
Yeah, I know
You're
where
like,
the frick I gotta get it. Next.
yeah, so I have tutorials. So here, let me see if I can get one for you guys.
I mean, it
That's
does seem like it could double as a weapon too, doesn't it? Like this
It's
could
like a
be
morning
Chinese
star. It's almost
Yeah,
like a
you
Chinese
could throw
star.
it at somebody
you know
and
what I'm
kill
saying,
them.
Ricky, this is this
Just
could
in
be
case. So
dangerous.
that's good to
we
have.
have videos on it, but
Hey,
so-
wait. We're gonna pivot different spot. Oh, look at her.
Ah, see, you just
Okay.
So I will.
And then look at right here is huge. Down, only place you go down is beneath the
Are
ears.
you guys watching this at home?
Yeah.
Do you see this? What we're doing here? We're
I
trying.
mean, how do
to
you
make
think this jawline can cut steel? It never used to be this way.
steel.
Google me in 2020. You're like, that is not the same chick.
What's the
This is the real weapon.
what's the serrated side for?
Oh,
There's
yes.
like a
This is extra. So this is like extra stimulation. So anywhere like the 11 wrinkle, anywhere you got the big ones, you're gonna give it a little extra
All right.
slay.
So
and I
okay.
think you could probably open a bottle with that too. I would think.
I mean, yeah, see,
This is like
Everyone needs one.
multifunction. Right.
Everyone needs it. The
I
wife
love
can
it.
do
Thank
the
you very
face. You
much.
can open the
So is
alcohol.
this?
We got to give her a head scratcher if we have one.
Yeah, we'll have to see on that. You know, I have to say, just pivoting around, moving around a different topic. So first of all, that's really cool. And talking about your the book, The Last Paycheck.
Yes.
Book's coming out August, you said?
Okay, so we're in the final
Or-
editing portion. I just went through and I proved it all. So they're just going through making the table of contents. I've already released somewhat my cover of the book because I've talked about it just to get pre-orders. So everything's pretty much done. It's just kind of the final print through.
One of the things I heard you say on a prior podcast, I got to give you a little bit of playful grief here. You said something about that when you were starting your new company or new product of Viva La Vida,
Viva La Vida.
La Vida, which we want to hear about that.
Yes.
But you were talking about the difference of when you started Filterless Era and Viva La Vida is that your energy was down. It was about energy. You're like, hey, I don't know if I have as much energy as I did when I started this. And Brian and I started talking about that. We said, hell, we've been doing our companies for 30 plus years and we're still after this. How long has she been doing that for 3-4 years and she doesn't have energy?
Okay, I'm like
What
lightning
the
in a
hell?
bottle. Okay, well, hear me out. I'm like lightning in a bottle. I made my website. I never knew how to make a website. I figured that shit out. Oop.
Yeah,
No, that's fine.
It's after hours.
It's after
You can say
hours.
whatever you want.
It's after hours.
I designed my company and I'm like, okay, Royal Flush is 5 pieces. Actually, the equation really only calls for 4, but I always tell everyone to do the traditional equation is 30, 25 times a day, $30, 4 times a day at $25. But I added 1. So I'm like Royal Flush. So we're gonna do 5.
I mean,
So
that's how you, going back to that, because you said that twice now, is your kind of like
Yeah.
your formula. You would get up in the morning and your approach to being, I'm going to be successful in business is I better sell 5 things today at X value.
At first it was 25. I put them at 30 just to give myself some leeway. Because, hit or miss. And so then I went and I'm like, okay, I got the Ace of Spades gua sha. So my original gua sha is the Ace of Spades gua sha. And I knew I needed a good facial oil. Now that was a whole nother battle because I wanted to do it in the US. I didn't want to go to China overseas for something topical. Prayed about it. Found an amazing factory. The oil is superior. It became an Amazon's top seller within a week. And I pre-sold it. If you look at my link on my website still, if you go to the Queen of Spades, you can still see my original thing and it will be like pre-sold, order in July, shipped in August. I don't know why it's still there. It just kind of is, but it reminds me, I had such the hustle to do that. It's a lot of work. It was no days off. It was no days off. It was 24 hours a day, 365, and it was for about a year. And that hustle is crazy, especially because I went through a divorce in that aspect. I have 2 kids that I fully support. I get no help with that. And I also want to make sure my kids have the best life they can. They want to be in sports programs. I want them to have play dates with friends. I want to make sure everyone's dressed to the 9. I want to schedule those vacations because that was one thing for me that I was not going to have leeway on. So the fire in me for Filterless Era was this is sink or swim, baby. Viva La Vida Co. I'm excited because these products are amazing, but I'm floating.
But you've got something underneath. You've got
floating.
that foundation already. Right.
Got it. So
And
I like the marketing angle to the five-way approach. You're queen. You're saying queen and ace of
Well, and
this.
Yeah, then it
and
came that then it was the ace, then it was the king, which is facial oil, then it was the Queen of Spades oil, then it was the Jack
Did
of
you
Spades
actually call?
facial
Do you
cups.
actually call it that, or are you
Oh yeah, it
thinking
still
of it
is.
internally?
It's called the Royal Flush Collection. It still is. We've taken a little step back from the marketing. Now it's just kind of like you'll still see the name on the website, but I didn't go super
That's
Vegas
actually, I
themed.
love that.
The reason I was Vegas themed at the time was because
Right, you gotta
you
love
can't
that,
beat them, join them.
yeah, the
Vegas thing
My
is pretty
ex-husband
Vegas
was a huge gambler.
Okay.
That's why I said ride the highs, survive the lows. I didn't have access to our bank account. And I'm pretty sure I'm like, well, we're making more money than ever. And we're still broke. Read between the lines.
What's up? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Oh,
probably
we know,
what's happening.
you know about that. Just
So
letting it ride.
I think maybe that's why I'm such a good hustler is because no matter how hard I hustled, we're still behind.
You're still behind.
So,
You gotta
Sarah,
keep hustling, keep
so it's
hustling.
okay. So it's actually called the Royal Flush line.
The Royal Flush Skincare Collection.
I love
The
And that's
Royal
vibe.
Flush Skincare Collection.
Yeah.
I love that.
And you know what's kind of
Very
cool
nice.
about it is like the Royal Flush, you're flushing
You're
fluid.
flushing things out.
And so we had the Queen of Spades, and then we got crazy and we started adding more stuff that couldn't necessarily feel it. So like the one that you have right here, this is my upgraded gua sha. It's called the Detailer because it gets in the detail of things. I was gonna call it the dealer, but I'm like the Detailer makes more sense.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's
I have
close
to,
enough to
I
I
have
have
the
to work
joke-
on my jawline. Just hang on.
do with that.
I have
You
the
can
Joker
pause.
peptides because I'm like eyes don't lie about your age. unless you're using the Joker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that line.
And
I
then
like
we
that
had the
very
Queen of Green,
cool
which
line.
has weed in it, CBD. So it has a weed leaf, which is a little edgy, but it's CBD. And so then that was the Queen of Green. So everything's kind of like a catchy name.
Now, were these all your ideas, or do you work with a marketing
No, it's
firm?
me.
You have a partner for
No,
that?
it's all me. No, everything is homegrown. Every single label you see, every single packaging thing you see. So I'm tired.
Yeah. So
Well, you
all
talked
right,
about something we talk about all the time, which is a lot of people don't realize, entrepreneurs, people running their own business, you're all in. And then people think they understand what that means. Oh, yeah, it means you work harder than most. It's like, no, your entire life, everything you think about 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Like, even though you have family and you have friends and you have other obligations, it's still sitting back there. Like,
and the burnout. And this is what I've been saying too, because I have to show up on social media and I've taken brand deals and I've done all these other things. And I've realized like I will get some enticing brand deals. Like I did one with Gold Bond and it was like, they offered me, for me, it was crazy. It was like $10,000 for a 1-minute video. But you think that's all good and great until I always was the person who put my videos out for Filterless Era, which is how I became an influencer. Truly, I was like just teaching people my stuff and it worked out. But when you start being an influencer on the side, which is what I've kind of grown into doing both because I want to diversify what I'm teaching my clientele, it's crazy because now you have somebody else who's trying to tell you how to run your commercial. You know what I mean? And it becomes a different thing where I'm like, is it worth the money? That's why I get tired because in the beginning, I'm a yes man to everything because I've never had these opportunities before. This is too good to be true. Oh my gosh, you kidding? You're offering this? Especially someone who's super broke. But then you do see the side of it where I'm like, I'm a constant stress ball. I'm a constant email. My email's at like 30K. And I'm just like every day, I keep my phone on do not disturb. I'm sure you've seen that. It's pretty much, I'm like, hopefully people aren't scared to text me.
If you put me on do not disturb,
I have everyone on it. I have everyone on it. I hope it's not rude. I completely
understand. No, I completely understand. But
ping, 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 ping.
But what then makes you go, okay, I got my Royal Flush collection and I'm starting a new campaign on my Queen of X or my King of this. And you go, you know what I need to do? I need to start Vita La Vida. What makes you say
I can't say no to the emails?
You know what I mean? You're running
I got an email and just like the book, they're like, we like your story. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, Viva. He's like I had an investor in this one. He's going to take care of all the investing and actually a really great guy.
Okay.
And really cool. Cause he's like, if you don't do a lot, don't care. If you do a lot.
Tell us the product in 30 seconds.
Okay. It is so I thought supplements and I'm like, let's simplify supplements for the girlies that like want to, like really beautify themselves. So we have in our shake, we have colostrum. Are you guys familiar with colostrum?
No.
So colostrum is...
Amber, are you? Okay.
You don't know colostrum, Armra, or any of that? Okay, so colostrum is amazing. So how they found this out is basically when you have a baby, when you feed your baby breast milk or whatever, the first nutrients they get is colostrum because it is the most vitamin packed.
That's why I don't know about it. Because I'm not breastfeeding
Nobody
yet.
was formula fed.
I'm not.
Yeah, formula fed.
No one's breastfeeding yet.
You were the breastfed one, right?
Any of us. Brian maybe, but I'm not.
For my younger brothers.
Yeah, maybe Brett is.
And so no, they did it, and then they started using colostrum. And there was a company out there, Armra, and I started doing it. It's good for your gut. It's good for your health. It's so good for your hair growth. All these amazing things. So I'm like, I know I want colostrum in there. And then I'm like, what else do girls love? We love collagen. Okay. And we want to take collagen, but I don't want to take 5 different drinks a day. Like that's excessive. I don't want to have to do that. But I'm like, I also want to lose weight. And it's really helped me because I put 24 grams of protein in it. So you mix 24 grams of protein with collagen and colostrum. It's one drink. It's a beauty drink. You're good to go. The other product that I did was a multivitamin. So it's just like, if you're taking nothing else, this is going to fill your gaps. You don't have to take a million different things. Because if you looked at my vitamin cabinet at the time, an explosion of high desires, no follow through.
Would it be safe to say that Filterless Era could be used by anyone, but Viva La Vida is really specifically geared to women?
No, men should use it too. I just don't think men care as much as women do. Some do.
Well, I don't care about my breastfeeding yet.
No, it's not breastfeeding.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
It's collagen. Collagen is naturally, when we become into your late 30s, you start losing collagen. No, not even late 30s. Late 20s, you start losing collagen production, which is why we start sagging. So when you supplement collagen, you're helping yourself not sag. So you should, but do men typically care about that? I say women because women are more, they care. Guys more care. And this is stereotypical. Not always the case. I have a ton of guys that follow me who are into biohacking and that type of stuff. But typically, if we're just, playing roles here, guys are more like, I want to go to the golf course, like have fun.
Yeah.
It's just a different world.
No, that's fair.
I'm curious, how do you come up with a vitamin? Like, how do you get that manufactured?
So the guy owned the biggest vitamin company in the world. And just like you guys, he was a CEO who sold the company. And then he was like, I'm bored. I love him. Ray, to this day, shout out Ray. Bored. Live in the Vida Loca. I mean, half the time he's in Aspen. Sometimes he's in Florida. Sometimes in Miami. Sometimes he's on his yacht in Bahamas. It doesn't matter though. Ray's going to answer his phone. He's enthusiastic and he knows how to formulate it. So I'm like, here's what I want. This is what I want. And then, he sends me the trials. I try it. If I like it, it's good. We also came out with an NAD. Are you guys familiar with NAD?
No.
Okay, well, you need to start doing NAD.
I feel so unhealthy.
I don't. I mean, she has steered us in so many correct paths right now, brother.
Right.
And we are.
Are you cold plunging or are you red light therapying?
No, I'm not. Hey, I've investigated cold plunging, but I have not taken the cold plunge
you
yet.
need a good one.
I know.
We talked about plumbing in one of our episodes.
Cold plunge.
Cold plunge. Ice bath.
You know when you go sit in an ice bath.
Okay.
It's
You ever tried that, Brian?
phenomenal.
Never, no.
And I learned it.
It's
I was
like,
at.
there's no way.
I did a
There's no
residency.
way. I'd like to try it.
No, you should. I did a residency at Savannah Wellness Resort in Arizona, which everyone should go to. It's amazing. You should take your wives. It's really a reset, and there's a lot of cool practices in it. And we went into a water program. You go from hot to cold. Cold plunge is incredible. Nobody wants to do it. No, Joe Rogan, everybody does it. You don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to do a freaking cold plunge.
I heard it has immaculate, miraculous things for your body.
Is this the Wim Hof theory?
What is
the Wim Hof theory?
Basically the same thing, like you're jumping from cold to hot water, or it revitalizes you and resets you.
Yeah, so I do sauna because I have a sauna in my house and I have a cold plunge outside. And so basically I do my sauna. You always do heat first. And I do the sauna in the morning.
So you'll be sitting in the sauna.
And you get hot. And or right now we're in Chicago weather. I go on my rooftop and it's so hot and I'll lay out in the sun.
That's all you need.
And I get so hot that I'll start feeling encouraged. Like, ooh, I want to go in that 40-degree water. And you sit in it for 3 minutes. And so in the beginning, when you first do it, it'll take your breath away until you're like, you learn it. It's almost like a thing you have to learn. You're like, you don't know how to regulate yourself. Finally, you learn how to regulate yourself and it becomes so therapeutic because it is a mind game. So you can tell yourself like the things I'm uncomfortable at. It's helped me be a better parent. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a mental game where like you'll sit there.
It's more mental.
And you sit there and you're like, I'll pray during the moments and I'll be like, hey, let today be good. I'm grateful for this in my life because you're in such an uncomfortable state where you just want to like, like you hate it.
Do you do it every day? Do you do it every day?
No. So I do it 3 times a week. It's actually better for men than women. Okay. You do get, some people say you get the effect, like you get energy boost, like you're on a high.
I have heard from the due diligence I've done. I haven't done it yet, but I'm getting more intrigued to do it. And
you would really have to put some mental into it because you don't even like getting in the pool unless it's 90-something degrees.
Well, I just don't understand why Brian owns a pool. Can we go off for a second here? I mean, Brian owns a pool, and if you own a pool, you have to have it heated. I mean, I want to walk into a pool and enjoy myself. I don't want to do a cold plunge in your backyard. I want to do a cold plunge
He'd rather
in
sit
Sarah's
in his hot tub.
I kind of
tub.
agree.
All right, quick, Brian. What's the house set at right now? What's your house at home temperature set at?
Well, because we've had guests over.
Just answer the question. Don't deflect. What is the house set at?
It's too warm. It's in the high 80s or something like
Your
that.
house temperature is high.
Oh, the house?
The house.
No, the house is 66.
Oh, well
Your
done.
AC is at
Inside.
66?
It's always, and at night
Wow.
it's 60.
Wait, that's insane.
Wow.
It's like
I didn't
60
expect
at
that
night.
answer. I did not
He
expect
lowers it
that
at
answer.
night down further than that.
I hate this heat.
Flexing
This
on
is
the
nuts.
ComEd bill. Raise a Nightcore ComEd, one of them.
That's
I
why,
don't pay that bill.
that's why my skin looks the way it does, because I keep it like a meat locker.
We know you did well in life, but that's where your thermostat is set.
Hey, Sarah, as CEO, do you, with the product line and the natural, do you feel like you're following an industry, or do you feel like you're leading an industry as CEO?
I'm leading.
Yeah, she
I
sure
don't
seems
really,
like a leader to me.
I get inspired by certain people's things. And if I do get inspired by people, I will give them the shout out that they deserve. And there's a lot of people who are before me that did well. But, at the same time, I know that I'm inspiring people. So I don't get crazy if someone takes my method. And my gua sha routine is not like anything you're going to learn online. Like this is something that was homegrown. Like I learned properly how to do it, but like I've gotten to my place of being a teacher, and what I've seen work is that like I come up with my own method. And I think, you know, that's the thing that I always struggle with is they're like, you'll get some people who went to school and they're like, this is exactly this. But it's like, once you step out of that, like how is anything creative or better ever done? Because you have to always push the barrier. So I try new things. What annoys me the most is the people who are just stuck on, it'd be like just being stuck on the first thought.
Mm-hmm. Sarah, if you're going back in your thinking to Sarah Fraggis' 20-year-old self, what would you suggest to yourself now? That's something maybe you did do or didn't do that you said, I wish I would have done this. Because you seem to be very, you're very ambitious. You're, you know where you want to go.
Confident.
You're confident. All great qualities, right? It's awesome to hear. And it resonates, right? I mean, it's contagious. People probably, you know, that energy. It's right. I mean, I could talk to you about the chi, the flow of energy all day. Right? We talk about that, but if you're going back and you're talking to 20-year-old Sarah Fraggis,
yes.
What would you tell her about what the path is ahead and what you should consider maybe doing different or do more of this?
You know what? I think that this is just for anybody in general who's at a pivot in their life, is that be so secure of yourself and so proud of yourself and stop being insecure. The thing about me is like when you're 20 years old, you're insecure. You're walking into a room of people who may have made it and who may have not. And then you're trying to impress certain people that like now I look back on and I'm impressing them. But you don't see that. You don't see that lens. So I think just being truly authentic in who you are is huge. And it's so hard to do. Even till this day, it's so hard to do. The bigger you get, the bigger people are who are in the room you're hanging out with. But the thing that I've even seen when you meet these people is that there is so many lost souls. We're all just here on like a different journey. We're all in a different part. And so there's going to be ridicule. And I think that when you're 20 years old, it's a lot harder to take that ridicule than it is when you've made it. And I think money talks. And I always say people were way harder on me when I had nothing than they are now, and it's so backwards.
Is that how you deem success? Do you like if we're 5 years from now? So that's good going backwards. Now you're looking forward. Do you look at yourself today and go, I love the success I've achieved, and I'm actually on a 1 to 10 scale. I'm at 10. Like I've got to where I've wanted to go, or you're like, no, I'm not even close, or I'm pretty far along where I've wanted to get to.
I look at myself like you need to do 100% better. You're not there yet. And then I'll get moments of reflection like, wow, you know what? Actually, if I compare myself to others, I'm doing pretty good. That's never good enough. And I don't think anybody ever sees themselves like, I don't know, maybe you relate, maybe you don't, but it's like you're still the same person you were back when you had nothing. And so when you do start having something or you do start being someone, yes, it gives you a little bit of confidence, but I don't think it totally loses like the soul of who you are. And so for me, it's like, I still feel like the same girl. You know what I mean? I'm getting more respect, which I like. I'm not having to deal with like not getting respected. I'm getting noticed more. I'm getting perks because of it. But then that comes with troubles as well. It comes with opportunists, and I've ran into that too. So it's like, success to me looks like my generational wealth for my children. So maybe they can figure out who they want to be without having to fit into a mold. Without the stress,
without the pressure.
Fitting into a mold. I had to fit into a mold. I don't know if it's good or bad yet, because I'm like, do I want them to not have to, or do I want them to have to figure it out? I don't know what builds more character yet. I'm still figuring that out. There you go.
That's a good thought. Like, you know what I mean? Challenging your kids to think like, do I want them to go through and figure out what I just figured out because there's such a learning process to it? Or do I want to make it easier to a certain degree because God, then I have to go through some rough times. They're like,
I want to be like a professional harmonica player. Like, you know what I mean?
Matt is a professional harmonica player. So this kind of makes it awkward now.
Not professional. I do play harmonica.
I mean, it's cool, but I'm saying
I'm not a professional. You did not offend me.
Is it your W too? Like, is that what you do?
He starts jamming the harp, but you were going to ask something, man.
His main income stream is juggling. Right?
Yeah, I do. I can juggle. What was your evolution of storytelling as you not only crafted your identity as a CEO, but as your business? How did storytelling play a part in what you do?
So like when I'm teaching someone something, like what is the message I want to convey is pretty much came from a lot of the hurt. Anything that I was hurting on, it's like I wanted to help somebody never, ever, ever, ever feel that way.
You know, we talk about mistakes a lot in businesses. That's a great word we haven't really talked about. The hurt that you feel running a business too. You can use that as a powerful story, right?
Well, I think, you mentioned lost souls. I think there's way more out there today than there's ever been. We've talked about before. I think it's the easiest time to start a business because all the tools are there, but it's the hardest time to be successful in business. And to me, kind of the COVID generation, the people that were graduating from high school and college during COVID and in basically late teens, early 20s, grew up on social media. I mean, when I was 16, 17 years old on a Friday night sitting alone in the basement, I didn't realize all my friends were out partying. Had forgotten to invite me. So I was, blissfully ignorant, happy, go lucky. But the pressures on younger people today, like you've said, it's either going to, pressure creates diamonds or it's going to crush people. And I think more people are getting crushed than, it's great to see your success.
I always say that. It's actually my book. I'm like, how is a diamond formed? Under pressure.
Pressure.
I was under so much pressure. And here's the thing is I think that I had my kids young. I had my kids at 22 and 24. And I knew that the guy that I was with at the time, he wasn't going to, I thought he was going to be my knight in shining armor, which is kind of why I took the chance in a sense. But that's young-minded too. But nobody's going to save you. And here's the thing is even if somebody does financially save you, I've seen a lot of my friends, they'll marry somebody for a financial situation. And it's never fulfilling. So I'm really happy where I'm at in the point where all my relationships that I'm in right now get to be intentional. And that's what I really, because we're out of that. Like, I do think there was a time when it was amazing that the mom got to stay home with the kids. And I do like that type of household. I think there's benefit to it, but I think in this vain society that we're in, it's just not the same that it used to be because there is social media, there's dating apps, there's a lot more ways to get out there and, cause problems.
Sarah, were you an athlete when you were younger?
I was a very good soccer player. Yes.
Okay. Cause I was going to say part of what I'm seeing in you too is that like the competitive flair, which is like a flair of like, I am not going to fail. Like when I was growing up, it was like, I just will not lose. I will not fail. I will, whatever I'm going to put my head and heart into, I'm going to be the best at it. And that a lot of times I see that with athletes. I see that with people that have been in competitive situations growing up. So I see that in you. Do you think that that's had influence on you? Like your younger days of being really good in sports?
You know what? Here's the weird thing, is that I don't know if it's because I was the youngest of 3 kids and the way that I was, I always had this complex of like, I thought I was always, when you meet me in a room, I'm pretty much easy to say hi. I talk to people. I think we're all best friends and I think we're all having fun. And I think the thing that actually hurt me was that like, I'd go in so charismatic and I really liked everyone. And I was like, this is awesome. But I was just being me. But then I would hear like I think middle school is when it started, like that was my worst years. It started like really affecting me because all of a sudden I went from like, I would hear people would be talking crap about me. And I think it was maybe a little bit of jealousy because I was very confident. It's just the way I was. I was very confident and very like driven, but I wanted it for all of us. And then I started getting girls who were mean to me because now that I'm an adult and I'm reflecting on it, I'm like, it's probably because I walked in with so much high energy, taking a lot of attention, not intentionally. I'm not like trying to.
Too bad. That's just the way it goes.
I know I hit a lot of like, I think a lot of my insecurities come from that. It's like, it's being too much factor. Cause I'm a lot. And I know that. And but I hated it. I hated it.
Don't apologize for that.
I hated it though. You know what I'm saying? It was embarrassing
I
to
hear
me.
You. But you've parlayed it into successful businesses.
This is my life.
Right. Well, and one of the other key words you've brought up, I think it's in your marketing and such, is authentic. Because you're in an industry that's not known for authenticity. I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. I mean, I can share my one skin.
Brian's got a skincare
story.
Hey, everybody! Brian's got a skincare story.
Wow.
Barb and I were.
Did he bring samples, Brian? I hope you brought some
samples.
Well, no, I'll tell you why I don't have the samples. It's because we were walking through a ski village, like a ski resort somewhere, and a woman popped out. Young, really good looking, popped out of the store and said, "Oh, I love your jacket. Where'd you get that?" And my wife's like, "Keep walking." I'm like, No, she wants to know about my jacket.
So let me talk about my jacket here.
So
Look at this jacket.
Be nice. And she's like, it's a skincare place. And I'm like, I don't care where she works. And then she started saying, hey, oh boy, you've really got great skin.
Oh no.
Have you ever
lock yourself into that one?
I noticed you got some bags under your eyes. So she's like, I got something. Let me just grab a sample for you. You know,
I've never heard this.
Puts it on underneath my eyes, and she's like, "You got to come in and see it. Like, you got to come in and see it." So I come in, I sit down, and she's giving me the whole spiel. Well, you know,
I bought a gross of it. I mean, she told me I was a good-looking fella.
Brian, do you still own that jacket?
Yeah, where's that jacket?
Yeah,
All right, we're gonna take a photo of it.
Yeah,
Amber,
get that
you're gonna
jacket.
get that up.
Well, when it came to
like
the
Popeye.
sale, she's like, "Well, here's a quarter ounce of this. It's $275." I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, I think my wife's calling me. I gotta go." And she's like, well, "You can't walk out of here with just one eye done." I'm like, "No, I can, really." She's like, "No, people are gonna look at you," and I'm like, I don't really care. So
Brian leaves.
That's amazing.
He turns around. He's like, "So you don't like my jacket?"
Well, let's do speed round really quick with Sarah. This is great. We've been all over the board with this. This is awesome, though. I love this conversation. Sarah, just really quick. What's your favorite movie? What's a movie that resonates?
Almost Famous.
Oh, great call.
Thank
Oh,
you.
great.
That's a great
Penny
call.
Lane.
That is one of my favorite
Penny
movies, and
Penny
no one
Lane,
talks about
I
it.
am embodied at Penny Lane. She's a little entrepreneur herself.
Okay. Brian,
Do you
Matt,
watch Almost Famous?
I have not yet. No.
That's why you didn't
Not
freak
yet.
out. That's
I
why.
didn't
Do you know the
that's why-
story of?
That's why, like, we freaked out, and like I was waiting for us
Yeah.
all to like clap in harmony, and there's none of that.
I haven't. but I'm now going to go
watch it
watch
tonight.
it.
You're talking like
Led
Blues
Zeppelin
Brothers,
was invited to the
Spinal Tap,
screening, and they loved it because a lot of it's yeah.
I'm going to go watch that now, though. So.
Oh, especially
We're
being in a band.
Band-Aids.
Oh my gosh,
We're
Yeah.
Band-Aids. We're not groupies.
We are not groupies.
This is Penny Lane, man. Show some respect.
Groupies sleep with rock stars because they want to be near someone famous. We're here because of the music. We are Band-Aids.
Yeah, no.
They're not getting it. No, they're not getting the
Have you seen
references.
it? Oh, okay, you got to watch it. Penny Lane is
Next.
So, all right. A person or a company that you admire.
Skin Cuticles.
In cuticles.
That's a company. It's a
Cuticles,
company.
That's a company. Person I admire.
They work on cuticles. Like
I just like their skincare products. I think that they're really pushing the barrier, and everything I've used with theirs has like really been just an amazing quality. They're medical grade, so they're in a different barrier than me, but I definitely admire their products. When I have them, I'm pleased to have them.
Okay.
What's something you learned about yourself when writing your?
My first couple chapters, it was depressing. It was like therapy. I was like, whoa, I didn't realize I had this much hurt in me. And it's funny because you forget a lot about the pain when you come out of the top of it. And then I just realized how much I struggled, and it kind of brought me back to that place. Very hard, very hard.
That's awesome. What's how about best piece of advice for anyone wanting to start a business? Any entrepreneur that's out there today, guy or gal, what would you tell? What would you say?
Don't do it unless you're ready to have 100% belief in yourself, and you need to have a superior complex. You really need to believe in yourself, and you need to think that whatever you're doing is going to work wholeheartedly, or just don't.
We've said that before. You can't
all
fail.
in.
It's got to be the attitude.
Yeah, like
it's the all in.
I will
It's
figure
either
out
you're
a
all
way.
in, and like if someone says something wrong, like you don't even get fazed by it, and it's like you have to be strong, because people are going to be like, that business kind of sucks, before.
Right, everybody's got an opinion, and it's usually negative. And we've said that, like, if you're not 100% committed, don't do it until you are. Until
Please.
like we had hundreds of ideas before we started the companies we started.
Yeah.
Well, Brian's going to start his fast food Italian business, Eddie Spaghetti.
Eddie Spaghetti. Yeah.
He wants to serve rigatoni on the
Is
fly.
this serious?
Yes, he is.
Well, it's near the top of the list.
I mean,
have
like
a lot
seriously,
of
I would
ideas.
love a fast food pasta joint.
Huh?
I'm a
Let's
pasta
do it.
person.
We got an
All right.
person.
I'm
We got an
serious.
investor.
I'm
Sarah
a
Fraggis.
pasta lover. Like if I could go through a drive-through, I
That's just- wouldn't you?
biohack. Absolutely,
Isn't
I
it
biohack.
crazy that it doesn't already exist?
It is crazy. And I always tell, I loved Fazoli's.
Yes.
And my
That's the one.
yeah.
That's
Fazoli's.
the one.
So we would every time we would drive with my family. My family would be so mad because you're like, Sarah's gonna make us go to Fazoli's, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting those breadsticks.
The breadsticks. They had breadsticks. You got
Right, there you go.
everything,
So, all right,
Pizza Hut breadsticks also.
We
slay.
got we
There
have
we
we have Brian Balduf, we have Frank DeGrassi, the owner of Mamo Nestas
He's in
out
on it
there,
with us.
and
He
Sarah
loved the
Fraggis.
idea.
Now there's the three-way
Come on,
partnership
I'll
to
make the
do.
videos, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, you do all the social media.
Yeah.
You can, all
There
that.
you go.
Free pasta, man.
All right.
Easy deal.
Sarah, we wanted to we appreciate you coming out and joining us here in in Studio G, we call it.
And here. Especially the this. I mean,
yeah, because I'm going to be
watch the next few podcasts and see how much better we look.
Don't use that jawline as a weapon afterwards. That's the initial weapon, but afterwards, the jawline is the weapon.
He's going to start shaving once he gets that.
Great. This is
great.
You really are going to love it.
But ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Fraggis, CEO of Filterless Era. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us. And
thanks for being here.
Everybody have a good night.
There we go.
That subscribe button.
Oh, yes.
Sounds good. See you guys. Thank you.